Hey guys, so real quick before we get into this video, I just want to hang a lantern on the fact that I feel like maybe it's a little mean. I don't want to be an asshole. It's not my nature. I don't want to be a dick and go after people. It's one thing to be upset about technology. It's another thing to make fun of people, but I do feel it's important to call out bullshit where you see it. And even after a week, I finished editing this video about a week ago. Even after a week, now I'm much calmer, kind of distracted, doing other things. I still feel justified. Granted, maybe I'm being a little mean, but you really got to come in. So if you happen to see this video, Phil Mustache, going forward, you do have a real opportunity to do it better, to do it right. And I know you've gotten a lot of views on this video, and that might make you feel justified, but please pay respect to the people whose shoulders you're standing on. I'm assuming Basil Wolverton is one of your art heroes because he's very quirky and interesting, and you seem like a pretty quirky kind of person. And I wonder how that feels for you. Do you feel that you respected his legacy? Because it doesn't feel that way. I sent your video to the estate of Basil Wolverton, the gatekeepers of his intellectual property, and they were not happy. They literally emailed me back immediately and said, wow, that really sucks. We will pass this around. Now, legally, there may not be anything that they can do, but just know that they're shaking their heads, and Basil Wolverton is probably rolling in his grave right now. So going forward, you can do it better. I hope you have the capability for self-awareness and self-reflection to let you understand why I'm kind of coming after you here. But if you're going to essentially rip off an established artist that I feel you probably really love, I think you deserve this. So going forward, I think you can do it better. I think you can be a little more self-aware. I hope it's not too mean. I hope the tone isn't too off. I mean, granted, this intro's got a little bit of a tone to it. But that's it, guys. Enjoy the video, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, I've got kind of a short one. I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about this week's art algorithm user clown of the week, and I'm going to touch on a couple of things that we can start to do to kind of bring some of the power back to the art community and to support human artists. So today, I'm not going to play for you this video. I'm just going to show you this thumbnail, and I'm going to very briefly explain why this guy is this week's art theft algorithm user clown of the week. This guy made a video called How to Create a Complete Graphic Novel in One Day. And essentially what he does is he types in a prompt into basically an AI writing program, gives it a couple of keywords about what he thinks it might be about. Then he copies and pastes those sentences that he thinks works, and then he goes into Midjourney and he cranks out a whole bunch of generations. I'm going to focus for a few minutes on why what this guy is doing is problematic. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Technology is generally neutral. It is the shitty people who would take advantage of it that I am primarily concerned about. So this guy, we're going to call him, which he says is his pen name, which is basically swapping the first two letters of a man named Basil Wolverton. If you don't know who Basil Wolverton is, I'm going to just take a quick moment and do what this guy didn't bother to do in his video. And we're going to take a quick look at Basil Wolverton's work, and we're just going to appreciate it for what it was. It's very original. It's very unique. I use the term grotesque in the classical sense. It's not disgusting. It refers to having extreme proportions, right? That's what a grotesque is, classically speaking. And this guy has a very unique style, and he created these really unique and interesting illustrations. They're very period Mad Magazine, but they're awesome. So we're going to take a moment and just appreciate it. And if you like what you see here, I very, very highly recommend for anyone to maybe go to Amazon or maybe there's a better outlet. Actually, Fanta Graphics, feel free to go over there and support the artist, support his family, support the work of human beings. What this guy essentially did was take Basil Wolverton's entire aesthetic and even his name and turn it into a graphic novel. Completely apes Basil Wolverton, mentions his name very briefly. He says, the art prompt I use is Basil Wolverton, and I find that to be incredibly disrespectful. He says it very quickly, and that's the last time he mentions it. And the reason this is such a problem is that if you had watched this guy's video, you still probably wouldn't know who Basil Wolverton was. You could very likely come away from watching this with some sort of assumption that all of this kind of came from him. And that is the very definition of a... He does say, my pen name is Basil Wolverton. So, for that, you special little guy, you have earned the title of this week's AI User Clown of the Week. Well done. You know, I'll tell you, I had to watch this video 3 times just to catch the 1 second that he mentioned Basil Wolverton's name, and he doesn't use it in any other context that the art prompt that I used. That's a problem, because this is the epitome, as I said, of the lack of ethics in this area. I want to briefly touch on a couple of things that we can do in the meantime to kind of take a little bit of a bite out of this, because I know a lot of us out there, you have a real feeling of existential dread, because this is coming for your jobs. This is going to completely change the art landscape paradigm in every single way. Everyone who says this is just a tool, treat it as such, is just ridiculously naive, has a very narrow viewpoint, or a lot of them actually are AI engineers who are just rabidly defending this technology. And I'm not going to say that AI isn't going to present opportunities for mankind. In this context, it's the opposite, because this is not AI. AI implies some sort of sentience, right? An entity, a self-aware entity. This is a sophisticated art theft algorithm trained on all the stuff it can find on the internet, or is even being scanned out of books and fed into it, and then it regurgitates a bunch of dreck. The problem with the dreck is that a lot of it, well, it looks really good. And that's where a lot of the dread and the fear from a lot of people that I talk to comes from. When they see something like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion create something, it's really hard to find the motivation to get up, get out of bed, and put your pencil down and keep your creative juices flowing, or pick up your paintbrushes, because a lot of people feel like, you know, what's really the point? So a couple of things that we can do is, A, you can join the Discord. I have a link in the description. There's not a lot of us right now, but there's a lot of really positive people. If you're feeling bad about the exact thing that I just spoke about, hop in there and you can get a little bit of positive reinforcement that you should keep creating. You should keep your creative fires burning. Another thing we can do is just support living artists. And that includes what you view on social media. Find those artists and follow those artists. Tell them in the comments that you support what they do and you appreciate their craft. Instead of following accounts that just, you know, you'll see an account that's 1 month old that has 400 posts of artwork, but they don't even say it's algorithm generated. They just say, this is my art. Don't follow those people. Just ignore those people. Another thing you can do is literally just contact your local congressperson. Contact your senator. Let them know that you are very seriously concerned about ethics in these algorithms. Ethics in AI. Now, I know they don't give a shit about artists. It's a really tough sell. But what they do care about is votes. And if enough people express their concern and say, if you don't do something, if you don't get off your ass and pay attention to this, I'm not going to vote for you, well, we might get their ears to prick up just a little bit. The last thing that you should do is vote with your dollars. Don't pay for these subscriptions. Don't support these business models that literally are ripping off the work of living artists and dead artists. It's a real problem. And I could really spiral for a while on that one, but I'm not gonna, because we're gonna have plenty of chances to do that. So vote with your dollars, support living artists. Feel free to hop into our Discord down below if you're looking for just a little positivity, people who are looking for solutions, people who respect what you do. Even if you're just starting out and you're not that great, it doesn't matter. We respect and we support your passion. And that's it. Much love, guys. See you in the wars to come.